need to be in the word, not the world. Okay? The world is the flesh. Okay? The word is the spirit. Okay? And that's part of that's some of us, right? We're feeding like a root system, right? We're feeding our flesh more than our spirit, which is this stuff of this world, right? All these desires that we've talked about, right? Sexual immorality, idolatry, sorcery, hatred, strife, jealousy, outbursts of angers, all this stuff. We're feeding more into that instead of more of the spirit, right? With love, joy, peace, and gentleness, all this stuff. We're feeding more into the flesh, right? And then we ask ourselves, why is some of our habits not aligning with God's will? It's because you're feeding the wrong system, right? You're feeding your flesh more than your spirit, all right? Whichever one you feed more is which one will grow, okay? I just want to talk about that system because I seen somebody was talking about that. I was like, man, let me try to do my best to try to explain that to y'all. But like, man, like some of the like you wonder why some of the habits in your life, you're like, why am I doing this? Why can I not align myself with not stop cussing, for example, or I continuously have this drinking problem, or it's because you're continuing to stay in your flesh. You're continuing to stay in the world, right? And looking at the world instead of looking at the word, right? That's why it says that's why I'm saying the root system has to be planted in the word, right? So that you can feed your spirit, right? So that you can let the spirit guide you, right? Convict you, right? So that you can turn and repent on the stuff that you have been struggling with, right? Because if you continue to allow the flesh to keep winning, it's going to continue to keep growing. And the spirit is not going to be able to, the spirit cannot align with the flesh, right? That's why the spirit has to grow, right? You got to continue to feed into your spirit so that these fleshly desires can't continue to grow, okay? That goes back to Galatians 5:16. I say then, walk by the Spirit, and you will certainly not carry out the desires of the flesh, because you're feeding into your spirit. Okay, y'all get what I'm saying? Now let's go to verse 25. Man, I missed this. I just need to talk about this, man. Like I've been going over the fruits and all this separate stuff. It's been a minute since I just talked about a verse to y'all. Okay, man, I'm glad I'm here. All right. Just need to let that go. All right, so verse 25, it says, if we live by the Spirit, let us also keep in step with the Spirit. Okay, so what I got here is we have been made alive by the Spirit, right? Actually, hold on, backtrack. Let's go back to 25.